Hello, one and all. This is Dago Seda, a pretty snazzy walkthrough. Metro other M. What am I saying? Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And after going to that lockpick door, we are in the downtown area now. And if you notice from that little watermark, yeah, that's what I'm going to call them. I'm not really sure exactly what they'd be called. But this is part 1 of 3 of downtown because, well, downtown is going to be one of the only areas in the game that's going to waste a considerable amount of our time. Because there's just a lot going on there, which really all it is you go to the one spot, then it implies that you have to get 3 items, because Resident Evil does a good job of not like handing stuff to you on a silver platter for the most part, where it doesn't exactly tell you what to do for the most part. You have to figure it out for yourself, and that's what I really appreciate about this game. This was back when games actually tried to pose some sort of challenge. Alright, first of all, yeah, you pick up this power cable here because you're gonna need it later. This is one of the items you have to collect. So if you get it now, it's gonna save you a bunch of time later. Well, actually not necessarily, because you have to go back in this direction later anyway. But it is good to get things ahead of time. Yeah, this is back when games were still difficult. They had this nasty ink ribbon system, which, well, if you weren't stupid, it was easy. Though, if you're someone who feels the need to save very often, like NARB 007, then these types of games could be very difficult. Now, if you're playing on easy on this game, then ink ribbons are no difficulty whatsoever, because they give you an infinite ink ribbon. But right there, we just made a gunpowder C, which you get from combining the gunpowders A and B, because now we're going to start collecting gunpowder C's to get what we want. And you will see what we... Like, when I get enough of the gunpowder, I'll try to explain to you what I want, because with the item, basically, if you get a gunpowder C, you can make it with grenade rounds. If you combine it with other types of gunpowder, it makes different types of grenade launcher rounds, because this game does similar to what it did in the other Resident Evils, where the grenade launcher has multiple ammo types. I noticed there I was saying grenade launcher. Yeah, okay. These guys are called Drain Deimos, where actually from what I've heard, they're actually blind and they rely completely on hearing. And there's a trick to getting past them, which I've actually never mastered. It is if you keep repeatedly tapping the run button. I don't know what system you're playing this on. If you repeatedly tap the run button, then you'll sort of be like gliding along the pathway, and your feet won't be touching the ground. And then it'll be almost like you're not even running, and that just fools them, which is excellent. That's what we want. We want to fool the enemies. We do not want them to know what we're up to. Okay, so here you go into the restaurant, and also this is one of those places where there could have been items. So I kept a couple of free item spots, which frankly I didn't even have enough to do what I wanted if I had gotten the item here, so I'm kind of lucky I didn't. They get 3 gunpowder A's, and this prevented me from wanting to go back in there. And over here, there's this little thing where you need the lockpick, but because it's a jerk, for some reason, you can't do it unless you examine it first, which is another issue I had in the game that wasted time later. But that's not until actually the very last part of this. Alright, so you need that fire hook to get down here, even though there's really no logical reason to be going down there anyway. But you start going down there, and then Carlos comes in. It's like, oh, what are you doing? And then Nemesis comes in, and you're like, oh my god. And you can either run into the basement, which is a bad choice, or you can hide in the kitchen, even though you're technically already in the kitchen. Or you're actually hiding in the dining area, and then Jill thinks it's a good idea to throw a grenade in there and blow the crap out of everything. And then Carlos says one of the first logical things in this game. It's like, you could have killed both of us. Which actually, Carlos is one of the only instances of bad voice acting in this game. Like, for the most part, the voice acting in this game is actually good. It's just the one major problem they have with voices in Resident Evil is the fact that they feel it's necessary for all the characters to like randomly karate chop like the air every single time they say something. And some of the conversations with Jill and Carlos almost always seem awkward in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, if you notice, Nemesis, he did not give up there. As soon as we got away, he just started chasing us again, which is really annoying. Alright, so you notice what we did also when we got there, we got a prize from killing Nemesis in there, which is the game gives you the eagle on a silver platter. There's 2 instances where you can instantly kill him no matter what your situation is, and that was one of them. So we were able to just kind of kill Nemesis there and get the eagle parts. The second time, which would be about the halfway point in the game, we'll get eagle parts B, which gives you a nice replacement to your handgun. Alright, so Nemesis, sometimes he starts chasing you again here, sometimes he doesn't. It's really weird, actually. But I don't know. Sometimes you have to wonder, where the heck is he coming from? And also, one of the things you should know in terms of dodging him is that he's left-handed. So if you run past the exposed part of him, on like his exposed arm, or one where he has like this fleshy shoulder, that's what we'll call it. If you run past the fleshy shoulder, oh, that's kind of a tongue twister. If you run past it, then it's much easier to dodge than it would be if you ran past his other arm. But honestly, I've tried that, and sometimes I feel it's actually easier to run past his dominant arm sometimes. But really, honestly, it's more running away from him than running past him. There's only really one situation where I actually have to run past him, and it's really easy. I think it's easy no matter what side you go to. Alright, so if you open the shutter here, you see there's a room with flames, and a certain person who doesn't like unconventional thinking, his name is Narb007, thought that he cannot get past that part because of the fire blocking his way, even though you can walk straight through it. And he got really confused, and it was very amusing to watch him be confused. Oh my god, that kid. What can you do with him? Alright, so in here you're gonna pick up the green gem. If you were snooping around the police station enough, I believe that's where the document was. There was one document where it was like a police person's diary, and they explain that, you know, of course Nemesis is here again. See, I ran past his dominant arm and he still couldn't grab me. It explains what the gems are for. There's 2 of them missing from this, I guess you can call it statue, monument, I don't know. There's 2 spots where they're missing in front of the city hall area. And what you need to do is collect both of them to open up the city hall area, which, even though it's not really much of a city hall, it's just sort of a building that has a nice courtyard. And this is one of the situations where I would endorse getting a first aid spray. If you use any, I'd use it here, because every other situation you're going to be completely prepared for it. And the reason I use it is because usually I'm in danger at that point, because Nemesis is a persistent little bugger and he beats the living crap out of me. Alright, so you put the blue gem there, and then the green gem you also insert there, and then you can go into this area, and you'll notice that I'll just wait till you get inside. But honestly, I'm quite surprised, because usually by the time I get here, Nemesis is like right next to me, and he's trying to, yeah, he's usually like right next to me as I'm putting those things in, so I'm feeling the pressure to go in really fast. But whatever. Alright, so that door, you cannot open it ever, but the game opens it for you, and you'll see what I mean by that when we walk back from this way, because it doesn't do that until you walk back for some reason. It's early in the morning, so I'm still a little tired. Alright, some of these zombies walk up, and I kind of saved myself a little bit there by knocking its head off, but for some reason the first zombie doesn't get up until you start going back through this area, and that really bothered me, the fact that it does that. So basically right now I am 1.5 hits away from dying. I'm going to pick up those later. I don't need them at the moment. Plus later I'm going to have a couple of red herbs to combine them with, hopefully. But whatever. Okay, so here's another one of those things where the game gives you an easy opportunity to kill enemies. You blow that up and you see the corpses of those demonic hound-like creatures out of your way. And sometimes that dog doesn't jump out until on your way out. Sometimes it doesn't jump up at all, which you probably shouldn't need. You really wouldn't need to kill that dog, because dogs aren't as hard to dodge unless they're in groups of like 40. By 40, I mean 2. Like if it's got dogs in groups of more than one, then that would be a good time to endorse killing them. And speaking of dogs, there's one part with dogs that was one of the reasons as to why my time was under slightly above 2 hours. Alright, so right here, Carlos gives you one of the best items in the game, frankly, where it gives you this little fanny sack-like thing where you can increase your inventory space by 2, actually. So it's weird. It's like if you're holding a whole crap load of guns, like, oh man, where to put my rocket launcher? Oh, I'll put it in the fanny sack. Yeah. Alright, so there, I think I was trying to get something up on my little reference walkthrough, I guess, which I was using my iPod, and that took a little while. But frankly, it's a reference I didn't even use. Alright guys, so next video we're going to start finding the items.